Hey guys, how's it going? Hope you're doing well. Love ya. And I wanted to talk about, I forgot how to pronounce his name, Nayib Bukele, I think, the president of El Salvador. And I do like him. I think he's genuinely trying to help the country. Um, for anybody wondering, this is a video for the the showing of Bitcoin City in El Salvador. Anyway, yeah, I have heard him talk about like he really wants to make El Salvador much better so that people stop leaving El Salvador and trying to get into America, and so they stay there and grow the country and have opportunity. And I don't know so much about like the details of what he's doing in terms of legislation and things, except for the one thing that everybody knows is that he's trying to make, or he has made, Bitcoin the official money of the country. Um, and I think it's a interesting step. I think it's good in that the country can't just keep printing more money. Um, so then there's something to build a foundation on. And I don't know how this. Well, okay. Let me just start out by going. I think I think it might be a great idea, but I think he picked a bad cryptocurrency to do it with, and just because it's the first and it seems to be very decentralized. Um, uh, People don't really think of it as being controlled um, by any one entity. It it in that sense it makes sense to choose, like, that's the positives of choosing Bitcoin for being the national currency. But there's basically one giant problem with Bitcoin, which if you try to use it yourself, which I've tried, you'll come into this problem, and it's so debilitating to me. It's far uh, too much of a problem to use as a national currency. Bitcoin can be slower than sending actual US dollars through an ACH connection in America, which is quite slow. It can take anywhere from a day to a few days. Um, uh, maybe shorter. I can't remember, but I know it usually takes like at least a day. Um, Bitcoin can take much longer than that, and it's if you don't know how it works, it's not just like click send and that's it. You have to pick. So the main thing is that there's a charge to send Bitcoin. Like it's not just free. It's not just moving things around, no cost. There's a charge because it has to go through. Um, I'm not even that knowledgeable about it, but it has to basically be like processed and compared to um, the blockchain, and this has to be done with computers. So it's you're paying people to have this transaction verified and sent. Um, you can't get around it. They've tried to make it cheaper. I don't know how that they could do that, but they tried to make it cheaper and faster and things. But it's still significant. I think. Okay, to me, even 1% would be a lot, but I think it was even more than that. It was like 5 or 10%. Probably not 10%, probably 5%. But if you're doing that at every single transaction that you send, it's pretty significant. And also being so slow, like I picked a slow transfer, so I think it might have gotten it down to like 1 or 2%. But it can take like weeks at that point. At least when I tried to do it, which was I think like a year or two ago or something. And people who are really big proponents of Bitcoin will tell you that it's either not a big deal or that it'll get better, and things like that. But I don't know. To me, it's like, well, I hear that a lot with a lot of cryptos like this. They're going to make this amazing. They're going to make this the best. And it's either very slow to do so or it doesn't happen. Sometimes it does, but, um, sometimes it doesn't. And I don't really know who to believe about that. I wouldn't bet my life on it, certainly. And there's just like the I suppose for the government it's not that big of a deal, but these transactions can be traced. Um, it's not completely anonymous as it would have you believe, but I suppose for the country, that's the people in terms of they probably don't care that much about that. Um, um, and talking about um, inflation, it's this weird thing where I used to think it was bad, but inflation, um, basically, at least from the government creating currency, you would think would be bad, but it does take money away from people who are hoarding it, so that it encourages investment and takes money from ultra wealthy people. Um, because the power of their money that they're saving up and they have hoarded goes down and down and down. And I don't know. I haven't looked into it for a while. But we'll see. I mean, it could cause El Salvadorians to become very wealthy if the price. I mean, if inflation is just a bad thing, it'll be really great for El Salvadorians. But if the bitcoins just get hoarded, it'll be really, really hard for people to get a good amount of Bitcoin. Because if all the wealth is concentrated in strictly the currency, that's the easiest thing to hoard then, especially if it's something like Bitcoin. But anyway, um, I know all governments have been taken off of the gold standard at this point, which I don't know if that's a good or bad thing, but even the countries who are, I would argue, are decent governments, like Norway and Switzerland, have taken themselves off of it. Oh, that's the end. So I would think they would have found something, some very a, a great benefit to do so, or else maybe they're just corrupt bad governments. I don't know. I'd like to hear what you think, and if you think that the sending fees to are bad enough to kill Bitcoin for El Salvador. Thank you very much for watching. Love ya. Like, comment, subscribe if you want, and have a good one.